everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we're bringing you your 2023 Golden Globes Red Carpet Fashion Roast and Review. We're going to be taking a look at some of film and TV's most famous celebrities who are all there for awards and trophies and gold things and whatever else they're there for. But we're going to break down some of their looks, talk about whether they're good, bad, or downright cruel to make somebody look at. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we have Anya Armas, and she is wearing Louis Vuitton. Now, she has become a woman of LV, rectangular shape that runs down the front. We can see that these silver sort of pearlescent little crystals, or maybe they're not even pearl, I can't really tell at this point. The light reflecting off of them is kind of weird. It creates an intriguing motif, almost like a tapestry that runs down the front, and then what looks like a sort of black chiffon runs down the sides. Her hips do exist. It's floor length. It's an intriguing design, to be completely honest. I do think that something about creating an almost faux column dress via the encrustments is cool, but at the same time, I do think that the square neckline, it's a tough one to do. I do think Anya Armas is doing like a pretty decent job, but it's a lot to shoulder, if you get what I mean. I also do think that the motif is a little bit intriguing. It's there. It looks like crowns and boxes with other little boxes, but it doesn't really read super exciting or intriguing or memorable, and I just don't think this is going to be a look that anybody ever says, oh my god, do you remember that? Yeah, so, well, do with that what you will. Next up, we have Garfield, and he is wearing Zegna, the Spanish tailoring brand that many don't really know all that much about, but tend to love. It's an orange, it's like a burnt orange, it's like a pumpkin pie colored suit. I love the lapels. I do love a little curved lapel. I think it's hot and sexy and cool. It's a simple sort of front crease pant, black sort of loafer shoe, but he's wearing a pussy bow blouse of sorts. It's not a pussy bow blouse in the traditional sense. Pussy bow blouses actually have the neck that is constructed of the sort of pussy bows. It's a collared shirt of some sort. Pussy bow element runs down, so I guess it's really not a pussy bow shirt blouse. It's a long ribbon sort of necktie, but in reality, in my head, it's a pussy bow blouse. In the grand scheme of things, like, do I appreciate that Anya Garfield is wearing a colored suit and trying to do a different sort of tie element? Yes, I do. Do I think that in the grand scheme of things, it really works? No. I think that if Anya Garfield wants to do a sort of like Harry Styles like suiting experience, I'm happy to do that. I think that he's obviously working towards getting to there, and that's great, but you gotta add a little bit more pizzazz, and the shoes can't look like that. Andrew, your scene, right now it's just pumpkin pie, and you need a little cream on top to make it a little bit more intriguing. Next up, we have Anya Taylor-Joy, and she is wearing Dior. Now, this is a custom look. It's a yellow bandeau and then a high-waisted sort of wrap skirt in a yellow silk. I don't know what's happening, but I don't like it. Feel like Anya Taylor-Joy had a phenomenal moment, in my opinion, with the menu. I want to see like food-inspired looks. Listen, I'm not saying she should dress up as a bowl of spaghetti and meatballs or fried rice. She should play into the menu, the character, all that sort of stuff a little bit more. She should also enact an iron fist when it comes to Dior, because a yellow bandeau and a high-waisted skirt, I could see that anywhere, any time of day. Also for Dior, they should have a little bit more of an iron fist with it, where they say, listen, this is what you're gonna wear. And we're gonna go back to archive pieces, bing, bang, boom, bring it back. Listen, you can even do it in like a Maria Grazia Curie, like slimmed down, really boring, minimal, wearable style, but like at least give me something, because this doesn't read Dior, it does not read elegant, it does not read transform the modern fashion industry whatsoever. And so I say to you, no, this is a stick of butter I don't want to be anywhere near. Next up is Awesome Butler, and to be completely honest, I have no idea who he's wearing, so, that doesn't help my life, but it seems to be a black double-breasted suit, jacket, simple, easy, he went tuxedo route, a nice silky lapel, strong, easy, classic. A black bow tie, a white button-down shirt, and then a simple pair of pants and a nice leather. I do know that this is actually a three-piece suit, so he really did go like tuxedo. I don't love it. Doesn't really read super exciting, and that's fine when it's classic, but I also think that if it's gonna be classic, it should fit phenomenally. You should see it and say, oh my God, wow, that like just put a, I don't know, rock in my stomach. It feels so good, it feels so exciting, it feels so intriguing, although a rock in your stomach probably doesn't feel like any of that, but it doesn't read, oh. And so I don't know. I just feel like we should be getting more of that feeling. And we're not. Next up, we have Billy Porter, who wore a custom Christian Siriano look. And listen, like when Christian Siriano does a Billy Porter moment, well, I'll say it. I love this. I love this floor-length frock coat. It's fantastic. I think taking the traditional double-breasted menswear suiting style and doing like a whole moment out of it. It's great. I think that the pink sort of velvet is stunning. I think that the lighter pink silk sort of details on the buttons and the lapels and the pockets is great. I think that doing a literal frock coat is amazing. It's wonderful. I think it looks super duper cool. And then to have the sort of big, bold train jutting out the back it's great. It's amazing. I will take this. I will take this. I will run with this. I think it's cool. I think it's fun. I think that it's a nice way for Christian Siriano and Billy Porter to like keep that idea of transforming traditional red carpet wear, blurring gender lines in a wonderful way. Right now, here in the United States, we need that. I love it. I think the shoulders are fantastic. I think the stance is great. I think Billy is selling it. I think Christian Siriano did a wonderful job. And you know that if I'm saying Christian Siriano did a wonderful job, I really mean it. Next up, we have Britt Lower, and she is wearing Bach My, and in reality, I love this dress. Now, this is a lampshade dress by Bach My, who is an up-and-coming New York-based designer. If you're looking for somebody that does like the old school glamour American beauty kind of vibe, like Bach My is doing it. Also, the thing is, I know people are gonna look at this beautiful black velvet bodice dress with a very low waistline and that gorgeous pink silk, I think it's a moire, and they're gonna say, this is just a Schiaparelli dress, and I'm gonna tell you it's absolutely not. In reality, the first person to ever do the lampshade dress was Charles James, and yes, did Charles James actually work with Elsa Schiaparelli when they were very young, in the early 20s, early 30s? Yes, they did. But in reality, does not mean that Elsa Schiaparelli owns a lampshade silhouette, because she does not. And neither does Daniel Roseberry. I like both of them. I love both of them. But the lampshade is for all. I mean, like, what are you going to tell me Princess Diana couldn't wear the lampshade? Back to this Bach My dress. I love it. I like the sort of neckline. I think that it adds a little bit of dimension, a little bit of intrigue. Do I love the drop waist? Normally, no. But do I think with the lampshade dress that it works? I think it's a great silhouette. I do think that it adds a lot of dimension. And then the pink moire is honestly fantastic. I think it adds a little pop of color. The leather gloves, fine, cool, okay. Would have preferred them to be velvet, but it's okay. In reality, I just want to talk about Bach My because I think he's fantastic. So, Britt Lower, you got taste, proud of you. So Donald Glover is wearing this double-breasted black tuxedo jacket, and then he's also wearing a white robe top, which in reality is intriguing because normally your shirt is tucked into your pants, but here the robe actually flows out and then we can see it underneath the actual tuxedo jacket, which I think is kind of different and intriguing and adds an interesting layering to the way that traditional menswear suiting usually works. The pants I don't love, and I feel like Donald Glover loves like a wide leggy kind of pant, and then the way that it just hits the floor in a weird pooly way. I'm happy for him to love that. That's great. That's wonderful. I hate it. I despise it. The black little patent leather loafies, they're okay. You know, I get it. If you think about the robe element of the top, I can see the loafer sort of slippery aspect to the shoe. I think the black also pairs in with the tuxedo jacket on top. Do I love this look? No. Do I think that it's an intriguing take on menswear and sort of, you know, playing with different elements? Yeah, and so like I can appreciate it. I just don't love it. Let's just talk about Hanna really quick. I love this beautiful brown on her. I think it's stunning. I think it's gorgeous. I love the way that those straps work. The fact that they sort of come up on the shoulder and then they come back around, I think it adds a different sort of element and intrigue, backless to a degree. And so I think that it plays into the look really well. I think a beautiful Valentino gown is just, And then this Valentino jacket in the brown, I think it's stunning. I like the silk lapel. I think it plays into, you know, the silk of the dress a little bit. The pants, good, fine. The shoes are brown. Oh my God, imagine. I also just think that the little silk flower is great. Listen, Pier Paolo has also really pushed the rose in sort of fabrication and things like that recently, so it's cool to see that element sort of coming into menswear too without it feeling too flowery. Honestly, to the Redmaynes, I am Redmayning here as a current stan. I hope that this continues on as time goes on because it really makes me very happy. Next up, we have Elizabeth Debicki, and she's wearing Dior. Listen, she played Diana in The Crown. And here's my issue. Look at that dress. It is atrocious. And listen, I don't blame Elizabeth Debicki too much. I mean, like, she put it on, so it's partially her fault. But Dior, what are we doing over there? Listen, I'm all for an empire waistline. You know what I mean? Listen, call me Empress Josephine. I'm fine with it. It's great. It's wonderful. It's intriguing. It's gorgeous. A, it looks like it's falling off, and that's not good. And B, the texture up there is just awful. It looks like they just took a ribbon, pulled it really tight, and said, oh, well, it doesn't matter what it looks like up top. You know, as long as you are gonna wear this silk column gown, you'll be fine. It's just awful. And listen, I don't ever talk about jewelry, ever. It's really not my forte. I don't really know what I'm talking about. But what is going on with the little dainty flower jewelry up there? Give me a big brooch. Listen, I'm talking like Koh-i-Noor level, but like not a colonial jewel, please. Let it be artificial. This is awful. You know this is awful. I am open to Dior more than I ever have been since Maria Grazia started. Ever. Watch the Haute Couture review. But this is making me not feel good. It's making me feel queasy. Next up is Hanna Einbeiner, and she's wearing Carolina Herrera. I love this dress. I think it's so good. It makes me very happy. This is a genuine smile, I swear to God. I think the shape is gorgeous. It's such like beautiful Belle de Jour, but like not at all a Belle de Jour reference. It's just like so beautiful. It's so wonderful. I know I've said beautiful 45 times, but like this black strapless dress with the gorgeous princess silhouette, that big, bountiful, bodacious skirt is just lovely. And then the gorgeous little wrapped white detail that overlays over top of the bodice, which normally I would despise. Normally I'd say, oh my God, we're gonna twist a white piece of fabric and put it on top. Ugh. No, I think that it honestly makes the dress. I think that it adds this just little dimension, just little sweetness, just a little tiny baby. Ooh. I just love it. I really, really do. And also, like, I watch Hacks. Hanna Einbeiner on the show really, like, is not that. To see her sort of, like, transform, like, she looks radiant. She looks beautiful. She looks stunning. It's really, like, this is a moment, honestly. Like, Carolina Herrera, West Gordon, Hanna, you outdid yourselves. I appreciate you. I'm a fan. Next up, we have Jenna Ortega, and she is wearing Gucci. Now listen, like, Jenna's off the Wednesday Addams black train. I also like have noticed that people were trying to make her like do the Wednesday Addams dance, and she was like, I'm not doing that. She didn't say it like that, but like she was like, I'm not doing it, don't ask me. But this look is from Gucci's Spring 2023 collection. It's a whole lot of draped dress with a little bit of stomach on display. There are rings that all the fabric is tied to in order to hold everything together. It's in this sort of beige. So normally I'd be like, but I do have to say that I think Alessandro Michele, towards the end of his Gucci, really got into this beautiful, beautiful drapery. I think it had a lot to do with the 1930s and his love of Hollywood and things like that. So it's nice to see a dress like that where these beautiful pleats sort of come in their drapes all over, and you can reference the decade, which is nice and fun, but you can do it a little bit more modern with stomach cutouts and things like that. The front triangular panel of the pleats running down the front, I'm not obsessed with, but like I get it. I think it plays into the style and things like that. I also just love the fact that you get those beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sleeves. They are gorgeous. They are stunning. They are radiant. She's a little swallow. She's a swan. She's a bird of some sort that's very majestic and beautiful. The sleeves are really gorgeous. I also love the way that the dress pools on the floor, the way that the pleats move, and they almost are like an organism, but like a beautiful organism. For Jenna, she's trying to break out of doing just Wednesday Addams aesthetic, and I think that this is a good way to sort of separate that for right now. I think it's smart. I think it's working. I'm happy with it. Next up, we have Jessica Chastain, and she is wearing Oscar de la Renta. Now, this is from their pre-fall 2023 collection. I don't even think it's out yet, and if it is a crystal-encrusted sort of spider web dress. Now, it's a sheer style underneath. It's not sheer enough for me. That's my one issue with the dress, is I think that Fernando Garcia and Laura Kim do a really, really good job when it comes to sheer styles, and in reality, it's almost like there's nothing underneath, whether they're doing those floral moments, whether they're doing the crystals that run all around and swag. I think it's really cool. I think it really works for them. I think it sort of pulls Oscar into a new, intriguing direction rather than just being this sort of heritage American brand. And so I love it. I just think that we need to work on like really doing R&D revolving around making it almost look like there is nothing between the crystals and the skin on Jessica Chastain. Maybe a sleeve also could have possibly worked here. That's another thing that I'm thinking when I'm looking at it is I think completing a little bit more of that circle could have been very, very cool. I just think it would have added a little bit more dimension to it, a little bit more of that sort of circular spider webbery. Next up we have Julia Garner, and she is wearing a custom Gucci dress. Now this is a pink spiral gown with crystal embellishments. Now we can see that the straps are crystallized. We can see that there are crystal sort of lines on the bodice and that runs down the skirt, and there's a crystal waist center situation going on there. And then there's nice little baby pleated bra cup situations, but we can also see that the rest of the dress is in this really gorgeous micro pleat, and then we have these gorgeous layers of spiral ruffles that run down. I think it's 1, 2, 3, and then there's a little tiny baby train at the end. I love a spiral ruffle like this. It's like an exaggerated lettuce hem. I think it really is intriguing and cool and fun and funky. It reminds me of like, not tulips, they're almost like beautiful calla lilies. To be honest, I think that there is an intriguing textural moment going on here. I think the color really, really works well. I think that the use of the ruffles is great. I don't love the crystals, but I don't hate them. I don't think that they really detract in a way that makes me say, ooh. So I'm okay with us leaving them. And they do seem to go throughout the entirety of the dress. If we look and we zoom in, we can actually see that the crystals come down through each layer of ruffle. So I think that's at least continuity going through. It's not just a throwaway piece to sort of hide a waist seam. I like this dress. I think it's great. I think it works. I think it's wonderful. Next up, we have Letitia Wright, and she is wearing Prada. Now, this, I believe, is a custom look, and it's based on the Spring-Summer 2023 collection. Future Prada and Raf Simons are referencing Prada collections of the past. Wrinkle sort of style is more linen-based, but still, like, the idea of Prada referencing wrinkles down the luxury runway is really strange, but at the same time, very, very cool, very, very iconic, very, very subversive. The aristocratic girl, like, when she was young in her rebellious phase, she understands the bourgeois aesthetic, and so for her to play on that and sort of send wrinkled clothing down the runway, very cool, very intriguing, very sort of intellectual, which is what Prada really is about. And then we can see on this dress that there also is this sort of splash of orange and sort of dark brown splotches. It's ugly, it's kind of scary looking, it's kind of gross, it looks like a pizza stain that you really didn't take care of quick enough. But what we can also see is there's sort of white manipulations going on where the slit is on the thigh. That is also a reference back to another product collection, which is Fall 2005, which did sort of these white pieces, almost like dyed fabric in tie-dye, but you rubber banded it so much that there are certain elements that the dye never got in it, so it's white. And I think that's kind of what the reference seems to look like, seems to be a way of taking in and looking at. And in reality, I think it's a cool dress. I think for Letitia Wright to sort of say, listen, I am a Prada person. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take the direction of the brand and run with it. I love it. You know what I mean? Like, she just did the campaigns for Prada. So she's in it and she's saying, listen, I'm going to let myself be a vessel for the fashion of Prada. And I think when you're a brand ambassador for a brand, like, that's what you have to do. You just have to let the fashion waves wash over you. In reality, I do think the orange is gorgeous on her. I think that the white also sort of does a nice job of giving you a little bit of an intriguing sort of separation between the orange. I also just love the splotches of the brown. I think it's cool. I think it's different. I think it adds this sort of icky, oily, stainy vibe to it. And then you pair that in with these like permanent wrinkles. It just adds a different idea of what a luxury brand is. And honestly, like, this is what I say all the time. I did steam this sweater. It was wrinkled, and I was gonna just say, listen, Prada said it's in. So it's in for me too. Sometimes I just say, listen, it's a wrinkle. Prada did it. I could do it. So be empowered by Prada doing wrinkles in your everyday life, okay? And if anybody says anything, just say, I'm sorry. Oh, wait. You don't know about Prada Fall 2003? Oh, shut up. And that person will say, oh, Wow, I'm dumb. Everybody should be thanking Lotus Wright, Michi Prada, Ralph Simmons. Next up, we have Lily James wearing this Atelier Versace look. This is a custom bandeau sort of style that has a high-waisted skirt, and in reality, they're connected via straps that seem to go along and all over the bandeau top. Now, the skirt in reality is a sort of simple floor-length column skirt. It's nothing really crazy, but what we can see is that idea of adding those big wraparound half skirts to the waistband is going on, and there are these big sort of flourishes and swags that go sort of around the hip area, and then the rest of that sort of wraparound skirt flies out. I appreciate the hip swags, to be completely honest. Like, I do like them. I do like the idea of the movement of these sort of ribbon strips that sort of create the top and move in and out, and that's kind of cool too. But unfortunately, the fabric is tough because it looks crinkled and wrinkled, and I know that Prada, you know, doing it is, you know, all that sort of jazz, but like, it was meant to be crinkled and wrinkled. This is not meant to be. I also just think that the red gets a little bit too much. It just looked kind of messy at certain points throughout the skirt, just the way that it falls, the way that the actual column skirt on the inside falls. You can just see the movement, the way that it crunches. The thing is, when it's done purposefully, that's fine because you're trying to do it purposefully. When you're not trying to do it purposefully, it's very noticeable and makes it look really uncomfortable and weird. The thing is, I think Lily James has had really great Versace custom moments recently, so like, I'm willing to let this slide. I do enjoy a Lily James in Versace moment. I just think this is not the look. I just don't think it works. I appreciate what we're trying to do. I just don't think that this sort of style, it needs development, it needs to be reworked, it needs to really have a clear vision because there's just so much going on. It's just a lot to stomach. Next up, we have Margot Robbie, and she's back in Chanel. Do with that information what you will. Okay, so Margot is back. She's in a halter-style dress with chevron motif that runs throughout the entirety of a dress. There's a waist sort of belt. There's a light sort of chiffon that runs down and creates another sort of triangular shape over top. In between opaque strips and triangles, there is pink lace. There's a little Chanel sort of star brooch. And then there is a part feather, part lace sort of skirt at the bottom. It's an ugly dress, to be completely honest. I can give you background context on the dress. Like, I did a deep dive on the Chanel Haute Couture collection. In my opinion, this looks like a Chanel Haute Couture dress from the fall 2022 collection. I don't know why we didn't just follow the blueprint that we had. That was really nice in there and actually wonderful and looked really good. For some reason, we said, oh, absolutely not. We're gonna do this monstrosity instead. I will say that historically, it's meant to reference provenance. Virginie Viard, who is the creative director of Chanel, was trying to reference the constructivist era, which was, I believe, in the 1930s when communism sort of took over Russia. There were a bunch of women artists that sort of were tasked with creating the sort of communist uniforms and styles and cultural dress that would take over within, I guess, the USSR, because it wasn't Russia yet, I think. So what happened was there were designers like Luba Popova, and here I'm pretty positive that this look is inspired by a design by Varvara Stepanova. You can see that there's a lot of these sort of geometric, angular sort of shapes and styles that go throughout clothing, specifically these sort of triangular, chevron-y kind of vibes. So I think that's what we're referencing here. I mean, Coco Chanel herself worked within the 1930s. You know, she designed, it was something. And I think that that's what Viard is trying to do, trying to keep within that decade and also at the same time reference a artistic movement to be inspired by. I just think that it just doesn't work. I appreciate the idea of sort of, you know, working with the chevrons, incorporating the different triangular elements throughout. I do appreciate it. I do think that there is a continuity there. I just don't think that it looks good. It just doesn't deliver. I think the triangular element at the knee where the lace and the feathers fall down, it's just awkward and weird. I don't hate the halter necky vibe going on. I just don't think that it looks great. I like the brooch in the middle and I like the lace. It's very Chanel. Besides that, it's a bad dress. But Margot, listen, if you're watching,
please go back to wearing Bottega Veneta or Alaya. It was really nice and it doesn't look like this, so please, thank you.
Next up, we have Michelle Williams in Gucci. Now listen, we're continuing on with the spiral frills, the pleating. I just think that when you look at these dresses side by side, you say that you have to be really careful with your Calla Lily styles, because it can go from intriguing, nice, straightforward, kind of kooky, but nice, to James Charles at Coachella fungi really quickly. And we all know which one we don't want to go for. I think the color, it's not the best. Creamy, white, or yellow, I don't really know. You know, the one shoulder element with the asymmetrical skirt, I don't think it works. Like, the pleated spiral ruffles are enough. Like, they are a lot on their own. I think they should be used sparingly, and I think that we should not just throw caution to the wind with them. They are a whole lot of textile, and you have to treat them very firmly. They need proper rules and etiquette. You have to be strict with them because they will just run wild. And they are doing that. The piping of the crystals on them also is so much. It's bad. It's just not good. It does not help. I also read that Michelle Williams just gave birth. So listen, I don't want anybody to think that it's anything about that. I'm so happy for her, wear whatever she wants in that context. I just think it's ugly. I just think it's an ugly dress. I also just wish Gucci maybe had said, okay, Julia, you do spiral ruffle. Okay, Michelle, you do some other sort of style, and it still would have read Gucci. It just wouldn't have read. It's been 40 years and a colony of mushrooms took over Michelle Williams's body partially. Love a spiral ruffle, just you have to be careful with them because they will take over. They are an invasive species. Next up, we have Michelle Yeoh, and she is wearing Armani Privé. It is a fully sequined style. I believe it's either in a black or it's in a navy blue, and then there is a whole lot of silver sort of sequins or crystals jutting around at different elements. Listen, I like that they jut around places like the neckline, at the waistline, at the edges of the peplum here, and they don't really go anywhere near the hem, which I'm okay with. Also, speaking of a peplum, that's a lot, you know what I mean? That's a risk. But I actually think that the peplum here, it kind of works, weirdly enough, not because I'm just a Michelle Yeoh fan. I would say I'm a Michelle Yeoh stan, but I think there's something about the way that there's a lot of it and the fact that it just falls down instead of trying to create an angular sort of triangular shape. It says, I'm just gonna go down here. I think it's interesting. Also, when you look at it and you sort of see that it's an Armani Privé, there's not a sequin out of place. That is also very helpful. I also love the fact that instead of a waist seam, there is the silver that accentuates the waist. That's how you're supposed to do it. If you need help on, how do I make a dress so perfectly from a technical standpoint, you look at an Armani Privé look, because it just is not a dead skin cell out of place. It just works perfectly from a technical standpoint. I'm a little bit iffy on the peplum, but even then, I think the continuity of the silver around it is okay. I also think Michelle Yeoh is a fashion girl, and I appreciate her, and I don't want to dissuade her from doing anything cool going forward because she is everything, everywhere, all at once in my world. So, thank you. Next up, we have Quinta Brunson, and she is wearing Christian Siriano. This is a custom look. It's a big mermaid skirt in black with little hints of pink. To be completely honest, for Quinta, I don't hate it. It's a little bit prom dressy for me, you know what I mean? It's a little bit much, I think, just in terms of the mermaid skirt with the black and the juts of pink. It's a little bit hard to take seriously to a degree. I appreciate, listen, that she's working her way in, and she's also not wearing Dolce & Gabbana, so that's a good one. I appreciate that. The pink at the bra cup is okay. Well, not really, but it's there. The draping, I appreciate. I think it's cool. I think it adds a nice texture. Jut out of the mermaid skirt is fine, I would say, except for the little tuft at the top. I get that it is trying to sort of maybe hide seams or where those two sort of pieces meet, but I just almost wish we'd rather seen just the mermaid tool that juts out instead of the tuft. I just think the tuft adds a weird texture to it, and I don't really love that. Listen, Quinta's working on it. She's getting there. you know, she was at BuzzFeed, give her time.
Okay, so quickly, Rihanna showed up last minute. She didn't even walk the carpet. Kind of annoyed Rihanna, but like, I get it. She's also wearing Schiaparelli. Now, this is a custom look that's based on a look from the fall 2022 haute couture season. There's a lot of ruching and a sort of velvet bust area, which in my opinion is reminiscent of a look from the haute couture runway. But what's different is there is a large black velvet glove, cape, shawl, floor length train situation. It's not the craziest Rihanna look, but I also think that considering she didn't actually walk the carpet, she wasn't trying to have the craziest look, not trying to have something super overthought, overdone. It's just a sort of nice, svelte, fitted black dress with an intriguing cape, shawl, glove, which you don't see a lot of cape, shawl, gloves nowadays, do you? Honestly, I like it. It's not my favorite Rihanna look, but it's decent enough.
We then had Selena Gomez, who wore a look from Valentino's fall 2022 haute couture collection. It is, I believe, a purple velvet dress with a square-ish neckline, a slight V, but it's really not a V, it's more of like a U shape. And then a big sort of purple off-the-shoulder billow sleeve with some sleeve trains flowing out. It's not my favorite Selena look. I think that honestly there's been a nice little fashion renaissance for Selena lately. And I know that she's worn Valentino in the past and it's really, really worked. I don't love the look entirely, to be honest. I just think that it's kind of a meh-ish Valentino moment, to be honest. I don't think that the purple of the velvet really does all that much. I don't think the sleeves are really that great. I think that there were better looks that Selena could have worn, could have been made for her, that really would have delivered a little bit more oomph. It's not my favorite Selena look. It just feels and falls a little bit flat to me, and especially after the year that we've had for Selena in 2022, I want a little bit more from her. And lastly, we have Viola Davis. She is wearing Jason Wu. Now listen, I don't know if the dress is meant to look stained or wet. Small watery fountain or patch or something, a puddle maybe, I don't know, but I like it to a degree. What I don't like is the drape. I just think that the ruche is whatever. I think the drape on the part of the bodice asymmetrically is a little bit weird. The ruche could be okay, but I just think that the draping going on here is weird and doesn't make sense to me. I love the color on her. I think it's a beautiful color. I think it's wonderful and whimsical. Okay, update. The dress was not meant to be wet. Apparently the LA rain that happened is the reason the dress looks like that. And to be completely honest, I like it. I think it is fun. I think it's cool. I think it's realistic. I think it adds a nice element and a nice dip dye, and Jason Wu should have done that to begin with. So Jason Wu, that's on you. You should have already been on that. Thank God for the dip dye, because the rest of the dress, it's okay at best. Now, before we get into the best and worst, I have some honorable and unhonorable mentions really quickly. Let's start with the honorable mentions. First up, Yeoh Edebiri and Rosie Asulin. Listen, if you're gonna do a crop top and a skirt, do it like this. Add a little sculpture, add a little texture, add a little architectural moment. Yeoh Edebiri, she does it. She's wonderful. And also she has the LA Rain dip dye natural effect. Daisy Edgar Jones wore Gucci. I love this look. The lace on that corset is gorgeous. I think the ruffle kerfuffle of the tulle feels a little bit intriguing and exciting. Even the sparkle sequin situation going on the hips, it works. Lovely. Jen Statsky is wearing vintage Maison Martin Margiela. I can't tell if this dress is actually sequin or if it's just a trompe-l'oeil effect, which Margiela did do, and so that's why I say it's leaving me guessing. Laverne Cox looks absolutely lovely in this vintage John Galliano look. Listen, if you're gonna have somebody do a bias cut, I think she looks stunning in it. Matty Matheson, listen, I don't know, I just love the bow situation. I love the shoe situation, the little, I don't know, they're like little ballet flats, and I'm just like, I'm very into it. He looks great. I think it's cool. Next up, we have Megan Stalter, and she is wearing vintage Versace, I believe. Listen, I like the little wraparound leather part of the bodice, and I like the double slit. A double slit is hot. And lastly, we have Stephanie Sue, and she is wearing John Battista Valli. Listen, I just like that skirt. I think it's cute. I think the flowers are gorgeous and beautiful and lovely. And I like the fact that there's a little bit of an intriguing black neckline experience going on. For our unhonorable mentions, let's start with Jennifer Coolidge. Listen, I love Jennifer Coolidge. I like this dress. It's just Dolce & Gabbana, and it makes me sad. That was a bad Jennifer Coolidge. Maybe I should be on the unhonorable mentions list. I know that I'm going to be in trouble for this. I'm sorry. It's Dolce. Next up, we have Jennifer Hudson. She is wearing CD green. It's just a little too disco ball for me. I love Jennifer Hudson. I also just like don't really love the shoulder situation. I love the neck. I love the little keyhole cutout. The shoulders and also like the gold is a lot. Jeremy Pope wore Dolce & Gabbana and like, I want to like it, but I can't because it's Dolce & Gabbana, and like that's the issue. Then there was Josh Richards. I don't know who he's wearing. I just know that he's wearing a little crop top and it's sheer and it's see-through, and I'm just like, I don't know. Not that I'm trying to say that like I want to see you in like a normal style, but like it's a pinstripe suit, and also like the pinstripe suit, like we didn't even tailor it properly. So like we're trying to have like a, ooh, crop top, look at me defying gender norms, and like I'm all about that. It's just like, do it in a suit that fits, babe. And lastly, Sebastian Stan, L'Enfant, whatever. I just like want Sebastian Stan to do more. It's just always kind of meh. Listen, I don't hate the look entirely, but like, it's kind of blah, boring. It's like Carter, what's his face from Gossip Girl. Skip this episode. And now let's talk about best and worst really quickly. Best, I am going to give it to, this is toughy. There are really a lot of good ones. I'm gonna put Billy Porter. I'm gonna put Hanna Einbeiner, put Julia Garner. As for worst dressed, Elizabeth Debicki. Oh God, that was rough. Anya Taylor-Joy, it's kind of a flop vibe, unfortunately. Michelle Williams, that was tough too. That was tough. And I think Lily James. It was roughy. It was roughy out there. So that is the end of our beautiful Golden Globes 2023 Fashion Roast and Review. I would love to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Please let me know. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and TTYL.